way up high here. And then here is the psoas major. Looks like psoas, but it's psoas major. Here's iliacus, and if we follow them together, iliacus and psoas major make this muscle right here, iliopsoas or iliopsoas, going right through. Okay, if you flex your hip, those guys will slacken and will make you use your abdominals if you're sitting up. Okay. Let's look at this one. This is a good one. Sartorius. Anterior superior iliac spine all the way down to the medial condyle. Nice longitudinal fiber arrangement. Sartorius. Another strap-like one, and you'll see this when you look at real legs. This is the gracilis. I think of being graceful. I don't know how that makes you graceful, but it is this one on the medial side. I'm trying to find a place for that. Okay. What is this one?
Sartorius.
It won't be on the test like that. I won't do that. I'll keep it attached. Okay? Could easily be. Who knows what beef jerky is?
Oh.
You see Soylent Green? You know what that is?
What's that?
Soylent Green?
No.
Soylent Green is people. It's a famous movie, book and movie. They shouldn't record this, but it's saying sometime in the future there's not going to be enough food and there's going to be too many people.
Oh my god, are we going to start eating the people?
We're starting each other.
That's what Soylent Green is. Terrible. Okay, so what's this thing along here?
IT band.
IT band or iliotibial tract. And this muscle here is that one that sounds like a coffee drink.
Oh, something.
Tensor fascia lata. So fascia, I think of a lot of fascia.
Okay.
And it tenses it when it contracts, right? Tensor fascia lata. It's probably not the most technically correct way of thinking of it, but it works. What's that?
Oh,
Tensor fascia lata. This one right here. That's it, right there. Okay. Now, in here are some muscles that are adductors. They're going to pull the hip in, your leg in. This is,
Gluteus maximus.
just leave that there. Okay. Okay, well let's do these first because I can't get to those. Rectus femoris, bipinnate right in the front of the thigh, part of the quadriceps. It originates on the anterior inferior iliac spine. Now there's the three vastus muscles. They're vastus because they're big. Vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, and this one right where my finger is touching,
Vastus intermedius.
vastus intermedius. Okay, make up the quadriceps, these three vastus muscles and the rectus femoris. Okay, they all are going to insert on the tibial tuberosity by way of the patella, or tibial tuberosity is good. Okay, now I can make out a little more in here. So here's this looks like the iliopsoas, way up high here. But there's this one here. This is the pectineus. It's a tiny adductor. That's how I can remember it.
Pectineus.
Pectineus.
Oh,
This one here is a little bigger. This is the adductor longus. Okay, so adductor longus here.
is that adductor magnus?
Okay, let's look on this side. We'll get to that. Oh,
Oh, there's two. Okay.
yeah, there's two. Here is the inside of the obturator foramen, right? Because the rest of the body would be there. This is the obturator internus. And let's follow it around. It tucks through, and it's this middle one right here. Now there's the gluteus maximus. This must be gluteus medius, and this one here that looks like a pear,
Oh, the piriform or what's the
piriformis.
Piriformis.
Yeah, and physical therapists seem to love that one. At least they always tell me, you gotta work on it. So they want me to do pigeon, you know, yoga,
Oh yeah.
and that's supposed to be really good for piriformis stretching.
That's the one that messes up the sciatic nerve?
This one could. You can see, here's the sciatic coming right out from underneath it. So on some people, I think like 10–20% of the population who have sciatic pain have piriformis syndrome, where this is inflamed. This is what my physical therapist thought I had, and she was wrong. But it can't hurt to get flexible. It's always good to be flexible. So gluteus medius, now if I cut this and look underneath it, and I can't, it's plastic, it'd be the gluteus minimus. Okay, gluteus maximus, medius, and underneath here is the minimus, piriformis. And then there's these three here, superior gemellus, the middle one is the obturator internus, and the bottom one is the inferior gemellus. Try it again.
Okay.
So piriformis looks like a pair. Then there's three together. The top one is the superior gemellus. The bottom one is the inferior gemellus. The one in between, obturator internus.
Obturator internus.
Is there only one of those?
One obturator internus? Yeah.
Do you have it? Is there an obturator externus?
Yes.
That's the one.
Obturator externus. I bet right there where my fingernail is, and it's not visible. I won't test you off of this view. What I'll do is, like from your book, I'll have an image of it so you can see it's from the outside of the obturator foramen. Okay. So these back here, hamstrings, all originate on the same spot, the ischial tuberosity. On the lateral side is the biceps femoris. Not biceps brachii, but biceps femoris. It must be a two-headed muscle. If I pull this out, there's the short head. Long head of biceps femoris and short head of biceps femoris. Biceps femoris inserts into the head of the fibula. That's on the lateral side. Biceps femoris. But on the medial side are two kind of tricky ones. Call them the semi-muscles. They're really muscles, but the names are semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Okay. The semitendinosus has a long, skinny tendon. Semimembranosus is wider, and it's underneath it. So the semitendinosus lies on top. So if we look here, here's the semitendinosus, but this is the membranosus, and that's the membranosus there. So it sticks out on either side, while the tendinosus lies on top of it here. So on a fixed plastic thing, you can't see it, but on a cadaver, I can stick my finger and just run right through there. Okay. If I take these off, I can see this huge muscle right here, which is the adductor magnus. It's really big, but you can't see it unless you take all these things off. Okay, adductor magnus. So there's adductor magnus and there's adductor longus, and in between them, if I could go work my way through there, I'd find the adductor brevis. Can't see it, I'd have to show you from a picture from a book, and I will. Okay. Let's make our way down. Gastrocnemius.
Gastric or
Gastroc.
Gastric.
Gastrocnemius. And then here, if I take it off, boy, that's some tight rubber bands. Gastrocnemius, and then see inside here, doesn't that look kind of a fish shape in there? Soleus, and isn't there a fish called a sole? They use that for fish sticks and stuff.
I have no clue.
That's what I think of.
Oh.
So it works for me, but soleus is this one here, or you can think it goes to the sole of your foot. Doesn't really do that. I'll set this down. So here's gastrocnemius. But if I take this off, right there, or all this, is the soleus. And this little wimpy one right here, you can see this little skinny tendon? Plantaris. Plantaris is this little skinny one running right along here. Okay, now some fun ones. I think I'll sit for these. Okay. Here's the tibia. In front of the tibia is the tibialis anterior. Good name for it. Goes to the medial arch. So when this contracts, it's going to invert your foot, right? And maybe a little dorsiflexion. So if you grab your shin and dorsiflex, you should be able to feel your tibialis anterior. Now, here, there's tendons going to the toes and one tendon going to your hallux, your big toe. Big toe is your hallux. So this one here, if this contracts, it's going to make your toe go up. Extensor hallucis or hallucis longus. And these are extensor digitorum longus. Extensor hallucis, sometimes you can't see it so well, so you see how this comes off if the rubber bands weren't holding it in place? It would be in there, but you can see it, it's sandwiched in between and it's running out and running along here. So I might like point in there and I'll say this is the tendon of, and you would say extensor hallucis longus. Though the surgeon on my daughter said it was extensor hallucis longus. Bothered me, but it's equally correct, it's just different people say it differently. Okay, let's turn it around. This one here comes down, goes underneath the medial malleolus, and goes to the big toe. When it contracts, it's going to flex your big toe. Flexor hallucis longus. On the other side out here, this one comes underneath, crosses and goes to all your toes. Flexor digitorum longus. Okay, weird thing here. These tendons cross as they go underneath the foot. So the flexor hallucis, well, think about it. What's your strongest toe to flex? Can you grab things with all your little toes? Or if you were going to pick up something with your toe for some reason? Isn't your big toe a lot stronger?
Yeah.
So look at the size of this one compared to that one. Flexor hallucis longus is much more powerful than the flexor digitorum longus. And then the one in between here is the tibialis posterior, which is an infamous muscle. Okay. Tibialis posterior. Okay. If I stuck all this stuff back on, that is almost in the front. This is a whole lot of stuff that goes behind it, the gastrocnemius insuleus. So if you run with bad shoes on a hard surface, some people get a pain that feels like it's right here, shin splints. Okay. Now looking at the skeleton there, see the bottom of his right leg? See that membrane between the tibia and the fibula? Interosseous membrane. The tibialis posterior originates from that interosseous membrane. That means it's attached in, and it goes to the bottom of your arch. So if this is the arch and you're running on a tough surface, you're stretching that arch and it's pulling, and it's a nice attachment in the tarsals, but the interosseous membrane is not nearly as tough. So it can pull out a little bit of the interosseous membrane. It can cause pain when you run or the next morning, and that would be shin splints. Not all causes of shin splints are the tibialis posterior, but it's a common cause of shin splints. So what they tell you to do is, ice it afterwards or run on soft surfaces. So I know there's some guy in my neighborhood, an old guy, really slow. Should record this. And